Hello, everybody. Yeah, of course. I'm stuck here doing the button, so not quite as not quite as smooth as usual. But everybody, welcome to the Rewatchers Council. Ooh, excited for this episode today. Now, first off, notice that my two co-hosts, my regular co-hosts, couldn't be here this week. Adelia Chamberlain, unfortunately, heard about some trouble in Cleveland, so she had to check it out for the council. Godspeed to her. As for Ferris Muthana, you know what? He went to investigate something. We haven't heard from him since. So we're all here praying for the best, but expecting the worst for Ferris, which is unfortunate. But got a treat for you. Joining us this week, he's a Star Wars champion. I must say, first off, that he's a councilman in good standing here in the council. He's the co-host of the Random Trek podcast and the host of Page Turner They Were Not. He also talks Buffy in his spare time. He guys tries not to leave anything for everybody else, but he's great to join us today. Brennan Mars here. Brennan, how are you, pal?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, it's our pleasure and my pleasure, since I'm the only one left standing here today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a while ago, you had sent in a patron request to the Let's Get Ready Network to ask if we could talk about Halloween movies that we like.
Mm.
I brought up that in my special mentions or whatever, that I just more like to watch the television shows, and I mentioned Halloween being this episode we're going to cover today as being the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm very excited to talk about it with you. We should get right into the old nitty gritty here, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
unless there's something else you'd like to say about the Halloween episode before we start.
It's great.
Yeah, it is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Season 2, such a great season. Maybe a couple of little slip ups through the season, but yes, so many strong episodes, especially this one as well. Now, its original air date was October 27th, 97, Brendan.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember what you were doing that day, but I sure do.
What was I doing? I remember that Halloween. I just don't remember what I was dressed up as.
Yeah, I have. I was just kidding. I had no idea what I was doing that day. None at all. That was a long time ago, and I'm
I think
getting.
I was at a church dance or
Oh,
something.
that'd be nice. Okay. It was written by Carl Ellsworth, Brennan. Uh, it was his first ever writing credit. He
Mm-hmm.
went on to write movies like Disturbia, The Last House on the Left, and remember that Red Dawn reboot?
Oh gosh.
It's fair to say if you don't remember it because nobody else does either. Awful.
Mm.
Anyways, he did
Yeah.
that, and according to IMDb, as soon as he turned this script in, the showrunner fired him. So I,
Well,
I don't know.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know how much is actually written by him, as in the writing team or whatever. Probably like Rob Desatel and stuff like that. Probably had something to do with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, directed another episode directed by Bruce Seth Green. I believe Bruce Seth Green is the one who actually directs the most episodes in the series. The number one movie at this time in 1997 in your United States of America, I guess everywhere else. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Brennan.
Oh wow. Okay.
Who did that star in it again? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, some blonde girl.
Yeah, some blonde girl who had the haircut still in the first episode of the show or whatever, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what her new look. Anyways, the number one song, both the and sorry, just in the U.S. of A. They had finally caught up last year's "Candle in the Wind" '97. The
Mm.
the UK, and it's going to be number one in the US throughout the rest of the year. So
Yep.
get used to hearing it as a
Well,
number one
because of the
song,
unfortunate circumstances.
of course. It was also the number one selling single of all time. I think the only second, maybe second to White Christmas. I can't remember. I think it overtook it though.
Yeah.
Uh, the number one song in the UK, "Spice Up Your Life," a song I like.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was thinking, we're gonna hear number one song in U.S. is Canada a lot. So I decided I was gonna add a Canadian one. What was number one in Canada that week? Anybody Seen My Baby by the Rolling Stones?
Oh wow.
Our,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, our charts are a little different. They're a lot more fun sometimes, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's what you think back to Rolling Stone songs. You're thinking, which one I really miss? Anybody Seen My Baby? No one ever does. Okay. To the DVD synopsis we go. After renting Halloween outfits from an unusual shop, Buffy and her friends begin turning into whatever costume they are wearing.
Hmm.
So I started thinking about like of the Halloween costumes and stuff, or whatever kind of costumes you've ever worn, which is the one that you would want to be stuck in forever?
I had a superhero costume that my mom made me
Nice.
when I was probably 10.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was an original superhero that I made up, not a one that already existed.
Very good.
And yeah, based on the just how I imagine that character, I don't think I'd mind being stuck as that character.
Nice. See, when I was a little kid, uh, we used to get um, those plastic masks and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys had
Ah,
those back in
yes.
the
Yeah.
elastic band kind of thing and the plastic kind of outfits and stuff like that. But when I was very young, like this is would have been 1978 or so, my mother
Mm.
made me a little Darth Vader costume. Not the one I'd want to be stuck in, but I figured if I have a Star Wars champion, I should mention I was Darth Vader for Halloween one year.
Good. Very
And
good.
then when I was about 10, our neighbor helped my brother and I build Transformer costumes. I was Optimus Prime and he was
There you
Soundwave.
go. There you
Those
go.
those are also good and also would have been a good choice. But when I was an adult, one year I chose to dress up as Fred Flintstone wearing Kiss makeup. And I think that'd be the one I'd like to get stuck in.
That would be an interesting choice indeed.
It'd be a yabba dabba good time, Brennan.
Oh, yes.
Anyways, we see the show starts and we see that sign counting down to Halloween. And also we see a nice little cartoon of a jack-o'-lantern, Brennan. And
Hmm.
of course, immediately in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, here we go, it's Halloween 3. So I had
Mm.
The Silver
Oh,
Shamrock
no.
jingle going through my head for the
Oh, my
first 10 minutes
goodness.
of this show.
That was
Uh,
stuck in my head for a week.
yeah, no, it got stuck in my head. I dare not say it again, lest it be stuck there for the conceivable near future. Anyways,
Yeah.
Buffy fight, of course, naturally doing what she does. She's fighting a vampire.
Hmm.
This one is pretty good. It has spin kicks and everything is
Mm.
going pretty
Yes.
fast. And also, you can quite plainly see Sarah Michelle Gellar's stunt double doing a lot of the work,
Yeah.
except for when like the camcorder stuff is. We got another camcorder guy just in the distance watching his buddy get pummeled and eventually fence posted to dust.
Hmm.
Anyways, this guy runs off. I wonder who could he be working for? He's working for something,
Hmm.
but we
I
got
wonder.
another creepy fella in Sunnydale. So we get credits, and then we see Cordy chatting up Angel at the local teenage watering hole. Brennan, the Bronze.
The
Uh,
runs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we discussed this, and ideally, like say, there's they have coffee cups and stuff. It's probably just coffee and stuff. I don't know how they'd ever support that business just selling coffee to teenagers, but they also have red solo cups. All these people have red solo cups. So
Hmm.
yeah, that is the designated drinking cup. Also, I don't know why they would have red solo cups, something you have to throw out in a bar. They have glasses and dishwashers. I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
It's
Oh,
true.
they're just cutting into their bottom line, Brendan. You'd
Yep.
figure, how much money could he get getting you know, teenage kids drunk every night? Probably,
I
probably actually,
wonder.
probably quite a bit. Who knows?
Not
Uh,
me.
so Of course, it's that trope. Buffy's gonna walk in and see the two of them talking and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course. And Cordy has the nice line here. He says, "Buffy, love the hair. It just screams street urchin,"
Mm.
which is nice. Well, I guess not very nice or whatever. I guess
Yeah,
like
but
she,
it's Cardi. It's what she does.
yeah, yeah. This is the Cordy where she was kind of looking like they were friends, and then of course at the end of the previous episode reminds them how much she hates them. So there you go. Anyways,
Hmm.
uh, Buffy starts talking to Angel. She goes on about how other girls think of dresses and stuff like that. She thinks of ambush tactics and beheadings. Uh, so the two of us have that in common. You know,
Yep, yeah, normal high school stuff.
you got it. Anyways, Buffy tries to sulk off, and then the next day at school, we see President or Principal Snyder
Ah,
v-
yes.
volunteering people. So what came first for you? Did Buffy come first, or did Deep Space Nine?
Oh, okay. Technically, Deep Space Nine,
Okay,
but I didn't really get into it until, like, dig into it until about the same time Buffy started.
okay,
But
so,
it would have come first because I knew who Quark was
right. That's kind of what I was
before I
getting at.
ever watched Buffy.
Yeah, I was wondering if you knew him first as Quark and then as Snyder, or if it was vice versa. I don't know what I saw first. I probably saw Deep Space Nine first, I would think. But yeah, it's a oof. You hit 50, Brennan. The mind starts going on you. You know what I mean?
I've still got a few years, but it's already going for me.
What a bragger. What a bragger. Anyways, so he is volunteering students to take other students, not even at his school, mind you, trick or treating.
Take a bunch of little kids trick or treating.
Yeah, that's not a thing, is it? Like in America, you don't have like students taking children trick or treating?
Not that I ever knew.
Yeah. Anyways, we see our heroes, the Scoobies, start walking.
Mm-hmm.
They see what's happening here. They see Snyder getting volunteers for this thing. Yet they still continue on to their lockers. I would have stopped right there and turned around. I
I
think that
would
would have
have
been the
too.
smartest thing.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
these guys are gluttons. They're
Out of
gluttons
sight,
for
out of
punishment.
mind, as they say.
That's true. Uh, yes. He also. Do you consider bobbing for apples a cry for help?
That's a very strange thing he said it that way.
I get it though. I get it. Anyways, so we get to we move on. We find out one of the rules of the show, supposedly, Brennan, that Halloween is quiet for Buffy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it never really works out that way. But it's supposed to be dead for the undead, I think Buffy puts it.
Which
Uh,
you'd think logically that it would be a big night,
you would think so.
but maybe the demons just figure, yeah, we'll let the humans do their thing.
Yeah, like it's like their Christmas or something like that. Maybe I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
like it's a time to gather together as a coven or an unpleasantness or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just spend time with the those that you dislike the most. Anyways,
It's true.
uh, we get to meet Larry Blaisdell. He's played by Larry Bagby. He was on NCIS. I usually say all the shows that Ferris watches first, so he
I
might have
get
a clue
him
what we're
mixed
talking
up
about.
with Kevin James.
Yes, it's like when there's a lot of people in this show that I have like Mandela effects for. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I know this guy. It's like, yeah, oh, that wasn't him. Anyways, NCIS, that 911 show, barf. CSI,
Mhm.
of course, and if Adelia had made it, I would have said that he was Ernie Ice in Hocus Pocus, another
Oh
movie
my gosh.
we talked about
Oh yes.
on the Halloween movie show. Anyways, he wants to know that sitch. And also, like, we get a bit of Larry in this episode. He'll be around a little later on as a
Mm-hmm.
pirate. And also there's a lot of high school people dressed up in Halloween costumes this year. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
Mhm.
Larry will continue on. We will see Larry again, and I think his story is actually pretty interesting too. So, anyways, he wants to know the situation between Buffy and himself, and wants to know if Buffy would ever go for him.
Hmm.
Xander's rather enthusiastically saying no. And then Larry implies that someone told, well, it doesn't imply, actually comes out and says it to Xander that he heard from someone that she's easy.
Mm.
So Xander, being Xander, sticks up for his buddy and is just about to get his ass whipped when Buffy jumps in, steals his thunder, but in Xander's eyes, emasculates him at the same time. So he gets a little pissy with him, and then Will starts feeling a little bad for him for about 1 second or so, and then she has to ask about Buffy's date with Angel, Brennan, which is more important. Uh,
Apparently.
yeah, and she's just reassuring him that Buffy isn't his type, and that's going to hold true throughout the history of both shows, isn't it? Well, let's just
Yeah.
move on. Let's just
Well,
move
yeah.
on.
We'll see.
We will move on. So the two of them hatch a plan to steal Giles's Watcher's diary from the
Mm.
library so they can read up on Angel from
Hmm.
well back in when he was in the 1700s and stuff like that. So I guess the plan was for Buffy just to go get them from Giles's office while Willow hangs out outside. Not much of a
Mm.
plan.
Okay.
This is yeah. They did not put much thinking into the plan. They put more thinking into trying to figure out who the bad guy is every week.
Mm-hmm.
But as Buffy goes in there, she sees Giles. Oh, and of course he's in the jail cell located within the school library, like most school libraries
Yeah.
have.
Most normal libraries. Yeah.
Yeah. So she decides she's going to keep Giles busy and have Willow do all the stealing. Willow, of course, was not a fan of this or whatever, but she got mentioned in. She ends up going ahead. She distracts him by telling Giles that Miss Calendar thinks he's a hunk of burning something. Brennan,
Mm.
I've been called a hunk of burning something too, but it wasn't nice. What they said afterward wasn't nice. I'm gonna tell you
Mm.
that. Yeah, my parents really didn't like me. Anyways, but her ruse
Hmm.
works. Willow steals the diary and leaves, but gives Buffy an awful glare before she did, which I loved. I loved that look.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, where did they go through the diary? And if history of watching the show knows, they still haven't made an appearance at a women's locker slash washroom yet. So, of course, they're in the ladies' washroom. They're going through the diary. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's also a poster up in that locker or in that washroom, I guess, that says there's no heroes in this locker room. I disagree with that poster. I'm going to tell you that
Mm-hmm.
right now. There's a band called Widespread Panic. Uh, Over the last couple of episodes, I've noticed their stickers showing up a lot. Whenever you
It's
see
true.
those WP stickers or whatever with the circle around them, that's
Yeah.
Widespread Panic. They're like a jam band kind of thing. Anyways, uh, yeah, I've noticed that backstage at the Bronze or whatever in the Ink and Mummy Girl episode as well. So I don't know what it is,
Yes.
but there's a lot of Widespread Panic pictures around.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, stickers, I guess to say. So they noticed this picture of a noblewoman that Angel may have been into
Hmm.
back in the 1700s. You know, when he was 18, Brennan, which is before he was a vampire. The Watcher's Guide had information on Angel from before he was a vampire.
Yeah. Interesting.
They had their eyes on this one Irish farmer for a while. I guess that's not spoiling anything. This Irish farmer, they had their eyes like this guy's going to be a vampire at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We just know it. Let's draw a girl he might like as well the same time. Makes no sense. Anyways, I do like that Willow, trying to support her friends, says that the girl looks like a circus freak. But then, Cordy goes back to acting like Cordy around Buffy, asking, says to her, like, what's his story anyway? She says, I never see him around. Willow says, not during the day anyway. And Cordy says, oh, please, don't tell me he still lives at home. So nice. Yeah. Like, at
I
this
like that
point,
line. I like that line.
yes. At this point, she's seen him fight a couple of times right in
Yeah.
front of her. Like in the episode previous, Reptile Boy, they're all fighting together inside that house that she was kidnapped in, and
Hmm.
he had his vamp face going. I guess maybe she just never noticed. She was just too into herself to notice at the time.
Oh
Eh,
yeah, that's Cordy for you.
yes. Anyways, Corey thinks that Angel would be like a Care Bear with fangs if he was an actual vampire, and then they start talking a little more, and Cordelia gives the line that sums up Cordelia to me on this show and her as a character as a whole. And one of my favorite lines ever uttered on the show says, look, Buffy, you may be hot stuff when it comes to demonology or whatever, but when it comes to slaying or it comes to dating, I'm the slayer. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's a good line. Yeah.
She's so great. Anyways, so we've talked previously on the Rewatchers Council, Brennan, about all the things that little two Starbucks town has, including a zoo, a natural history museum. It has at universities, colleges, prep schools. It has everything else. And then, did you ever think it would have like its own costume rental shop? Like full-time costume rental shop, not like a Halloween Spirit or anything like that, like an actual brick and mortar costume shop. How many
Well,
people? How many people need costumes?
given how strange that town is, I'm not surprised.
Yes, that's the one thing you can always say. It's just never really surprising. Anyways, another Englishman is there, Brennan,
Ah,
and
yes.
and of course they see a dress that would be time appropriate for what Buffy thinks Angel would have liked
Hmm.
back in the 19th century, but she can't afford it, and the nice Englishman makes her an offer she can't refuse.
Hmm.
I don't think Godfather style or whatever, but makes a nice offer. We never know what it is, and they never
Hmm.
say what it is. But anyways, we'll talk more maybe about the shopkeeper later. So
Hmm.
we quickly go over to the guy who was recording things on the camcorder, uh, and we find out he works for Spike. Brennan. So after Spike already spent his whole episode in school hard or whatever it is, uh, scouting Buffy, having people fight so he could watch her fight, he still has people scouting Buffy. So that's what he's doing. He's watching her fight and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And of course, the rewind and stuff like that with the sounds and stuff like that is very fun. That's very brings you back to when you'd have to do it or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
uh, classic VHS style recordings and stuff like that.
Some of our younger viewers might not have ever used a VHS.
Yeah, that's true. Truth be told, the very first thing I ever had, Betamax. Betamax.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it sold one to my family and then like schools, and that's it.
Yep.
But they supposedly the sound was really good. Anyways, Drusilla comes in. Turns out she's visioning again, Brennan. Uh,
Hmm.
that something new or someone new is coming to do bad business on Halloween. So
Mm.
we go back to the kind English shop costume shop opener, and oh boy, he's wearing ceremonial robes and has a doing a he's starting to do a ritual to a bust of Yanis.
Yeah.
Brennan, you know, he starts praying for chaos, which is a definite thing for him. We'll learn. Anyways, so
Definitely not what I pray for.
no. So we head back to Buffy's. Now she's changed back into the gown and an era appropriate wig somehow. uh, for a girl who makes no money and stuff like that, and whose mother is having to do a lot by herself. She sure gets things. That's fine. Never.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't ask. You just don't ask. If you don't want to know the answers, you just don't ask them, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
Willow had bought a ghost outfit, but Buffy had convinced her to go a little more forward, get out there a little bit. So she starts wearing something, I guess you should say, a little more provocative, especially for Willow. And you could tell she's feeling a little uncomfortable with it, though. So by the time that Xander shows up, the ghost costume's back, complete with Boo across the front of it,
Yeah.
just in case people got her mixed up with
So
something else.
I'm not exactly sure what her other costume is supposed to be, but
Yeah,
some
I,
like goth girl or something. I don't know.
yeah,
But it
I,
didn't look that gothy to me.
it didn't. It looked like she was trying to get backstage at a rock concert, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which could come up later. You never know. So Snyder's brings the kids to Buffy. We're back at the school, complete with a fresh expulsion threat.
Mm-hmm.
I've I've mentioned this before on the show. Like between her mother and what she keeps like needling her about getting kicked out of her last school, and this guy keep going on with I'm gonna expel you. At what point does this become abusive?
Eh,
I think we've
yeah.
met that point. It's like
Well,
back
Principal
off.
Snyder is, he's trouble.
Yeah, he's not a he's not a good man. He isn't a
No,
good dude at
no.
all. Would you rather be friends with Quark or Snyder?
Quark, because
Yeah,
Quark can be really grunty, but he can also be really not grunty.
yeah.
So
You know what you're gonna get with Quark. I'll say
yeah.
that. Yeah, he is. He's in it for the money. That's what his species is about. For Snyder, you never know. He's always gonna be for himself first, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
We see Larry make fun of Xander again, and then we see Sunnydale's favorite lead guitarist, Brennan. Now, it turns out Dingo's Ate My Baby is going to be playing at the Shelter Club that weekend. Yet another club inside Sunnydale. That's the
Yeah.
third club that I've counted that caters, I would imagine, would have to cater to the underaged because
Yeah,
legally
apparently.
he can't play there. He is not an adult. I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I never quite figured out how that worked.
at least by the time we last saw him in Inca Mummy Girl, and this one, he shaved that dumb beard part of his goatee off.
Oh yeah,
He still has
the
that silly,
goatee thing. Yeah.
yeah, he still has that silly mustache on for whatever reason. But anyways, Cordy's going on to him about Devin, and then decides midway through her rant or whatever to tell Devin that she didn't even talk to him and stuff like that. Very Cordy-ish little conversation here. Then she leaves. Then Willow accidentally bumps into him as the ghost. They say sorry enough to each other to be honorary Canadians now, Brennan. I welcomed them. I welcomed them to
That's
my
true. They
fair
did
country.
pronounce it that way.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, sorry. Yeah, like 15 times. All right, enough, guys. We get it. Anyways, Xander giving his charges some important candy tips. This is something he's crafted from boyhood and stuff like that. He's on a mission for it. He's dressed appropriately as a soldier. He knows what he wants, and that's candy. I'm surprised he doesn't take the kids' candy afterwards, too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now, the shop owner's doing a spell, and he says, showtime when finished.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hear showtime again in season 6. But yeah, well, as soon as I heard showtime, I heard a little chord of music goes through my head. Do, 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 do. So I listened to a certain soundtrack a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was very happy to hear that. I totally forgot he says it. So we cut to it. They're all handing out, going trick or
So
treating.
it is something Beetlejuice would say.
Yes. Oh, very much so as well. Yes.
Yes.
Another movie we covered on that program. So
Yes. Another good Halloween movie.
fantastic, and I can't wait for Beetlejuice to come out as well. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we've said his name like more than 3 times, so something weird's gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, they're gonna start handing out, or the kids are out trying to get candy. Oh, And they're saying trick or treat. Now, when I was growing up, we didn't say trick or treat. I don't know if this is a very Canadian thing, but we yelled Halloween apples. We never said trick or treat. Now
That's
kids,
very strange.
yeah, kids these days say trick or treat around here or whatever. But I know growing up, it was always Halloween apples, and I never said
Yeah,
trick or treat when I was a kid.
I think it's always been trick or treat here.
Yeah, odd. Canada has some weird customs. At least we said it in English and not en français, if you know what I mean.
It's
So
true.
we do see a nice old lady handing out candy, and then the kids start turning into whatever they were dressed up as. Then one starts choking her. This little kid starts choking this old lady. Of course, I started laughing. But yes, yet another case of someone getting grabbed by the throat on this program. I think it may happen every single episode. I haven't done the numbers on it, but just through my head, it's like someone's going to get grabbed by the throat every
It's
single
true.
time. Willow looks like she faints. Xander starts gaining some confidence and then pulls up not his little plastic gun with a little orange tip, but an actual M16.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willow's spirit then leaves her body and starts. She goes up, starts walking through. Xander doesn't even know her. She passes right through him, like phases right through him. And then they find Buffy, but Buffy has turned into an 18th century noblewoman, and so Buffy faints as well. Now, do you have any idea what kind of accent Sarah Michelle Gellar was using when she was a 19th century noblewoman? Because I
Um,
have no idea.
it's sort of like an upper class American accent.
I started thinking that as well. At first, I thought she was like mixing up Irish and English at the same time.
Because it's
And then,
not British, or if it is British, it's a bad attempt.
yeah,
But it
it's.
strikes me that it's upper class American in that time period.
I think you might be right. I think you actually get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, like from the not from like maybe the Boston area, maybe upper class Boston. Who knows? Anyways,
Something like that.
Willow, I do enjoy that she was unimpressed with Buffy's wimpiness. That's for sure.
Hmm.
We see Cordy getting chased by a Bigfoot-looking guy, but Cordy's still Cordy, which is interesting.
Mm.
Xander brings her into Buffy's place, and turns out Cordelia got her costume at Party Town, which is a different costume shop in town, which means this two Starbucks town has two costume shops in it.
Hmm.
I don't get it. I still don't get it. I am enjoying building up what Sunnydale looks like in my head. We've already decided, Adelia and I, that this is going to be some kind of metropolis that they still think is a little town. Anyways,
Yeah.
Spike is just wandering through the streets, a big smile on his face. Great line from Spike here when he says, "Well, this is just neat." Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, Xander and Buffy see a picture of themselves with Willow. Xander actually does seem to cope with it. Buffy doesn't. Angel comes in. Of course, he's invited into her house. This isn't as big a deal as what happened last time. Uh,
Mm.
but they don't know who Angel is. Then Willow then walks through the library's wall, startling Giles. I enjoyed that as well.
That's a great moment.
They do a lot of these for some reason. When things start happening, they start cutting back and forth to a lot of places really quick. So they're back at Buffy's, and Xander and Cordelia decide to pair up. Dot dot dot. Angel and Buffy do as well. Angel and Buffy are soon attacked by a vampire in her kitchen. A
Mm.
vampire, I'm pretty sure she never welcomed in.
That's a
So
good point. It's a good point.
I was thinking that maybe, like earlier, we saw when the kids were going around a teenager dressed up like a vampire. Maybe that's supposed to be that teenager. So if
Mm.
he's actually a human being, so the vampire rules wouldn't apply to him. Maybe that's it. I hope that's it. For my own head canon, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be the way it goes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Buffy grabs a knife when he like Buffy Angel keeps asking for steak. Buffy grabs a knife. Then but Angel turns around and sees Angel's vampire face and runs off. Back at the library, Will and Giles figure out that since Cordy didn't change, the other costume store may be responsible. So they send him.
Mm.
The store is named Ethan's, which raises Rupert's eyebrows a little.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Spike conveniently hears Angel and Cordelia talk about how helpless Buffy is. Meanwhile, she's being chased by Larry again. We mentioned he was going to be showing up later as a pirate.
And with
Uh,
bad teeth. With bad teeth.
yes, of course. Yeah, they didn't have a great dental plan. They were probably English anyways, and so not the best dental
Yeah, fair enough.
system there and stuff like that. But I wonder if you had a pirate name, what would it be?
Oh, I never thought of that. No beard.
I like it. No beard's good. I was thinking Winnipeg Leg Pete. So from Winnipeg,
Okay. All right.
and
All
Pete just
right.
sounds like a more fun name than Snark for a pirate name, anyways. So,
I know. Snark would be a good pirate name.
but with Peg Leg Snark, you needed a P, I think there. I think a little
That's true.
a little alliteration was needed. So Will and Giles go to Ethan's. They then find that shrine to Yanis. Giles tells Willow to leave, and he's quite stern about that, so she does. Turns out Giles knows Ethan, so despite the jokes or whatever, like with the Canadians, like when I'm in America and stuff like that. So, oh, you're from Canada? Do you know Bob? Turns out these two English people in this little town do actually know each other,
It's true.
especially because Ethan calls Rupert Ripper to start off with. Now, I guess I should explain who the shop owner is. Ethan is obviously Ethan Rayne. Now, he did Castle and stuff like that. He's been on a bunch of other shows. Now,
Robin Sachs.
yeah, Robin Sachs. Sorry. He did a lot of voice work for video games and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yes.
Dragon Age, Mass Effects. He was in this one, of course. That's a little cheating. Chaos Bleeds, see Chaos, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer video game. But one thing I did find out, I had no idea, even though I've seen this movie a dozen times. He was General Saris in Galaxy Quest.
Yes, that I knew.
I had no idea that happened. I should also say, because of course the Star Wars champ is here, he was also Saul Karath in Knights of the Old Republic.
That's you know what? I never put two and two together, but now that you mention it, yes. I should have known the voice. I mean,
Yeah. Unfortunately, of course, Robin Sachs passed away in 2013.
yeah,
Rest in
yeah.
peace, Robin. You were great on the show. Anyways, Xander stops Larry from hurting Buffy and gives him a damn good thrashing. He actually feels, he doesn't know why he felt so cathartic afterwards. Cordy tells Buffy that Angel's a good vampire, even though she doesn't even believe that he's a vampire. Willow can't turn a book page. All right, she's in the library. She can't turn a book page, but her footsteps are very loud.
Yes, that's true.
It's like, guys, you didn't have to.
Well, she's wearing those ridiculous shoes, so.
I guess, but you would think that if she can pass through walls.
Yeah, logically she wouldn't be able to make noise.
Yeah, maybe a little misstep.
But then again, it's not like it's not like, I mean, these shows are written rather quickly.
Yeah, that's why they fired this guy. They fired the guy when he turned the script in. So there you go. Yeah. So who knows? At least they never cleaned that up. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I just think it's interesting. Anyways. Yeah, the gang starts running from Spike and his cronies. My favorite ones being the little kid cronies. I thought they were great.
Yes.
Turns out, yes, Ethan and Giles were buddies. Giles seems corrected his path when they were both into chaos demons and stuff like that. Turns out Giles wasn't always so stuffy and proper. We'll find out more about Ripper Giles later. And God, I wish we would have gotten that Ripper spinoff, that prequel show Ripper. That would have made
cool. Then where this goes with the episode where they revert to teenagers. I won't spoil it,
Band Candy is so good.
but
I love it.
let's just say he has an interesting past.
Yes, he does. So, Giles tells Ethan to change the spell back, or he'll basically kill him. You see a very aggressive Giles here, and then proceeds to pound on him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Our heroes start barricading themselves into another open warehouse for somehow downtown Sunnydale.
Yeah. There's a lot of warehouses in
There's a
Sunnydale.
lot, and none of them are closed properly at all. They get into these things far too easily.
And
But
apparently they're on the coast because they have the port too.
I have no idea where this thing is supposed to be.
They have a lot of stuff in this town.
3 hours away from everywhere except they have ports, they have zoos and whatever.
And they're near
Anyways,
the desert.
yeah, these guys just have no idea where they are, I guess. Yeah, it's easy for them to get in, but it's also super easy for Spike and his friends to get in. And Spike starts menacing Buffy and then gives her the old pimp slap, Brennan.
Oh
That's
yeah.
That's
Oh
two
yeah.
weeks in a row. That's 2 episodes in a row she gets pimp slapped. She got pimp slapped by that Tom guy in the dungeon of the frat
Yeah.
house and then gets pimp slapped here. Not great. Anyways, Angel was captured and seemingly rather easily. Everybody kind of just got grabbed easily. And he's just being held by one arm by two smaller guys or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, well. Spike is just about to slowly dying on our hero when Ethan tells Giles how to break the spell. Just smash the bust of Yanis. Buffy wakes up out of her spell just in time and starts beating Spike with a pipe, which I enjoyed quite a bit.
And she
But
takes off that ridiculous wig too.
yeah, kicks the wig off her where we get to see proper Buffy again. So Giles turns to go and assault poor Ethan a little more. Uh,
Yeah.
Ethan had to run away, and quite quickly, which is not a surprise for this town because they seem to get everywhere very fast. Like
Yeah,
like
that is very odd how that happens.
the bronze is about 30 seconds from everywhere in that town. It turns out. Anyways, um, so Buffy also just let Spike go away. She's like, "Oh, this guy can't be too much trouble. I'll just let him casually get out of here and so I'm not gonna go chase
Yeah,
after him or
well,
whatever."
Spike is such a popular character, they just have to
Yeah,
keep
that's
letting him
true.
live.
Yeah, to the showrunner's chagrin, he was
They
not.
just had to keep letting him live.
They did not. He did not like that this was happening. Anyways, Angel and Buffy then head off. Xander lets Cordelia know that she's never going to get between those two.
Hmm.
Uh, Willow wakes up where her corporal self fell, but she, gained a little confidence. She grabs the ghost costume and throws it away. She walks past Oz, who has an imported van. I don't know if it's imported from Europe or like from England or if it's imported from Japan or something like that, but it
Yeah.
has the steering wheel on the other side. And of course, he does that "Who is that girl?" line.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
well, he'll find out. He'll find out who that girl is very soon. Uh,
Yes, indeed.
Buffy and Angel talking in her room. She says she wanted to just be a girl like the ones he liked way back when. He reiterates to her because he told her this before that he couldn't stand them back then. And he wanted someone exciting, someone interesting. Then they start making out in their room. Of course, once again, this vampire is 241 years old, Brennan.
Well, at least they left the door open.
Buffy is 16 years old. All right.
Yeah, at least, if they weren't there, and I'd be like, well, at least they left the door open. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The next day, Giles goes back to Ethan's shop, but it's been totally, cleared out of most of the stuff or whatever. A couple of things left, including a note that he finds on a desk that says, "Be seeing you."
Ah, yes, this is not
Pretty
the
on this.
last of Ethan.
It's not the last Ethan, but I did think that we saw more of him throughout the show. But he's only going to be on a few more episodes, which is too
That's
bad.
true.
Yeah. So next time, and thanks for first off, I gotta say, yeah, again, loved Halloween. I loved
This
having
is
you
a
on the show. It was been
this is
fantastic
a
having you.
really this is a really fun classic Buffy episode.
Yes. Not my favorite Halloween episode. That's coming
No,
up. But
no, that's
yes,
coming up.
yeah,
Yes,
I do love this episode though. Next episode is fantastic as well for much different reasons.
yes,
Certainly not as fun.
no,
But yeah, when you think of season two, of course, you're always going to think of Lie to Me. Uh, of course, Buffy's
yeah. That's an
friend.
episode that's
Yeah,
hard to forget.
Buffy's friend from her old high school is going to come by. They can, just to hang out. There can't be anything wrong with that, right? There's
No,
nothing wrong with
nothing,
this guy.
nothing bad's gonna happen.
Oh, Brennan, you gonna come back and talk about Lie to Me next week?
I believe I am, and I'm excited to do that. But you see, it's so interesting that Buffy as a show is more of what I would call a dramedy,
Yep,
in that there is a lot of comedy, but there's also a lot of drama, which we'll see next week.
yep,
But in terms of this episode being like one of the more fun Buffy episodes, this kind of goes along in the same category as some of the great, more humorous Buffy episodes.
yep.
And when it gets dark in this next week. It's gonna get so.
The next episode is a real gut punch. It's a real gut
Mm-hmm.
punch, guys. This is yeah. This is a much different tone than you see from
Much different, yes.
especially in this season so far. Okay, Brennan, thank you so much. Again,
You're welcome.
you want to reiterate where people can find you on the interwebs?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that on my podcast, Page Turners They Were Not, where you can find on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, I did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer retrospective episode with Legal, who is a huge fan of this kind of stuff.
Nice.
And it's like a 2 hour discussion retrospective on this show because I just finished my rewatch of the show about a month ago. And so I do want to plug that episode.
Of course.
That if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on the show as a whole, check out that episode. So you can find me. Page Turners They Were Not, wherever you get your podcasts. Random Trek is under the Page Turners banner, so you can find episodes of my Star Trek show on the Star Wars podcast, where we look at a random episode of Star Trek every week, me and Chris Ingle.
Good guy.
You
Good
can
guy.
follow me on X at Brennan Mystical. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Brennan Blue. And of course, wherever you can find my podcast.
Fantastic. And yes, again, thank you so much for coming. As for myself, Starting 11, the English Premier League podcast that I do with Delia, Tuesdays on our sports network here at LGRN, the highlights. Let's see what else. LGRN After Snark weekends with my show with Danny on YouTube.
Danny, yep.
Yes, I don't know if we have a topic this week other than we're just going to talk about how I turned 50 on Friday. So
yes, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much. So yes, that's happening this weekend. Let's see what else. Oh, Playoff Beards is coming back this coming Friday. Again, the highlights. That's our.
I think I'll keep my no beard pirate name.
Yeah, I am. I am not allowed to have a beard, so I think it is a quite funny name. So, anyways, that's our Stanley Cup playoff show. It's coming back with new episodes starting Friday. It'll be Ryan Christensen and I talking about our predictions looking at the matchups for the first round. Maybe take a look at maybe some trophy winners. Just discussing hockey, maybe the season as a whole, as we get ready for round one of the playoffs, which start next week. And also the Doom play along show where I started playing Doom for the first time uh, since it was released. I believe Danny has called it Old Man Plays Doom for the first time in 30
It's
years or
good.
whatever.
It's a good show.
I prefer to say like handsome man. It's like, you know what?
Yeah, that's what I'd
Dashing
call it.
Dashing man plays Doom for the first time, but old
Ooh,
man,
I
whatever.
like that. The alliteration there. I like that.
You got that right. So yeah, that would have also been a fine title, not just old man, but okay. So there it is. And also, Adelia, Danny, and I will be back to be playing the original Battlefront games or whatever very soon as well. Almost got a space to play again. The basement down here is almost finished getting ready. So yeah, I can't wait to
Mm.
get everything set up and actually have some fun with my friends. But until then, everyone, thank you so much for watching Rewatchers Council. Of course, next week, Lie to Me. It's so good. Make sure you guys watch it and come watch us afterwards. Thank you all, and bye bye.
Bye.